Hey y'all, it's Angela here again at the Chicken Coop. It is a dreary day outside, but it's not dreary for me because I'm starting to plan my garden. I'm so excited. So every year I kind of sit down and try to plan my garden, and I'm just going to show you what I do. I am no expert by any means, but just every year my garden evolves and I try to do something different. So I just wanted to kind of share with y'all my garden planning. All right, so first off, what I would encourage everybody to do is I have a garden plan. Let me take it out of this. Well, here, I use this one. It kind of shows the layout of my garden. And I have a master of this, and I make copies, and then this is my working copy for the year. This is the blueprint of my garden. I'll try to show you, put a little link in a little picture right here of my garden. But here is the greenhouse. This is the west side, and in front of my greenhouse I have a little flower bed. They're mostly perennials, stuff that will come back every year, okay? And then this side is the south side. This is over there by my deck area, and my mulch pile is right here. And then this, of course, is the north side. And it's we have a fence right here, and this is our dog pen areas over here on this side, and then this is the corner of our house. And there is a flower bed here that has perennial, more like a wildflower kind of area right here. And then here's the east side. This faces our street. And here's our gate to get into our garden, and our front yard is right here. I have a planter here, that kind of thing. The way our garden is, the sun rises in the east, goes over our garden, and then sets in the west. But back here is my chicken coop, and there's also a big oak tree that kind of shields a little bit of that and my greenhouse from that hot west sun. There's nothing impeding the sun from the morning all up to, you know, after high noon. It gets full sun. Like I say, every year my garden has evolved and changed, and I moved things around. I started out with my postage stamp garden, which I have on the back of this. Let me show you here. I haven't printed that off yet. I've got to print that off because I haven't. But this is my postage stamp garden. It's not drawn to scale, y'all. It's just a representation. And this on my postage stamp garden, these are all my tubs that are along a little fence row. This is the west side of my property, and so it gets a lot of west sun. And then my house is right here, so it gets more west sun. But there is a tree that the tree's kind of like right here in the backyard area, and it kind of shades it a little bit, so it gets these get more full sun in the afternoon, and then this inside here gets a little bit more dappled sun through the limbs of the tree. And then this is a trellis right here that I've planted tomatoes on last year. And now it's really just kind of a walkthrough to my greenhouse. My greenhouse is right here. My chicken coop is right here. And then my big garden is right here. I've planted different things and done different things in this garden. But this year, what I think I'm going to do with this garden is, this is going to start becoming my herb garden. And so I'm going to plant herbs all in these tubs. I do think this has a really nice trellis with cattle panel trellis, and I do think I'm going to plant some beans, some climbing beans here, like some lima beans that will climb right there. The reason why we like to leave this open as much as possible is to be able to get our tractor through here, our three-wheeler through here, my husband and son. We have gates and stuff that you could go through, but this is an easy access to unload feed, take my potting soil over, bring the tractor over, the lawnmower, that type of thing. So we like to try to leave this, have as much open space through here for just traffic. And it's also the same in my garden. If you were to see my garden, a lot of people would think I have a lot of wasted space right here, but that is all for the tractor to be able to move around and get a lawnmower through there, a three-wheeler through there, that kind of thing. Because my husband brings things in for my mulch pile. My mulch pile. Just different things. If we ever have to have a dump truck brought in here, it's big enough for things to move around. It's not easy, but it can be done. And then in between all my garden bed rows, it's big enough for his lawnmower to go through there, so he can mow through my garden. All right, so let's get down to the planting thing. So first off, I want to tell you, I have not gone through my seeds. So that's one thing I still have to do, and I'm probably going to do that today, just to see where I'm at, what I have. And so there's a few little holes in here that I'm leaving open purposely so that when I go through my seeds and see what I might want to grow, that I can still have some places to change things up, to put some things in there that I hadn't thought about, or if I find something or somebody shares something with me, I still have some room in here to wiggle. And I mean, I haven't even started my seeds yet. That's another thing I'm going to start is my seeds this week. I'm really kind of behind probably, but it still could be done. I'm going to start my pepper seeds first, then my tomatoes, and work from there. Okay, so let's start with my plan here. All right, so right here, this is a raised bed, but it's just a big wood around the edge perimeter of it, so it's a kind of a little bit bigger open space right here. And I'm going to put my cabbages in there. Normally I grow my cabbages in the fall, but I think I am going to try to grow some this spring. So I do a lot of my cool weather crops like broccoli and cauliflower and that kind of thing, and peas and cabbages. I do those more in the fall. My garden is limited spacing, so I have to kind of pick and choose what would grow best in the spring and what will grow best in the fall. Of course, all your tomatoes, peppers, all that kind of stuff, onions, garlic, grows better in the spring. So there already has to be some dedicated space to those type things. All right, so cabbages are here. Try beets. My husband likes beets. I don't like beets, but he wants some beets. I've designated 2 or 3 tubs with beets, and then some turnip greens. I think I'm going to grow some turnip greens this year. Oh, my peppers. Oh, one thing I wanted to tell y'all, like last year, all my tomatoes and peppers were grown on this. There's a trellis right here. And my tomatoes and peppers were grown on this side of all my stuff, okay? And so now that's how one ways that I rotate is, so now this year my peppers and things are going to be grown on this side of my trellises. Now I only have a trellis going down these right here. This line that's growing through these buckets is a trellis, and I have 4 buckets right here that the trellis doesn't meet, but I can use tomato cages if I have to right here, if I needed to grow more of those. See these little 2 dots, these 2 dots that I have right there? See those dots? There's 2 dots right there, 2 dots right there. This is my tub, and what I plan to do is plant the pepper plant back towards the back of the tub to be able to use the cattle panel trellis that's here. I've planted an onion here, an onion there, an onion here, and an onion there. And then in the middle, right here in the front, I will plant a marigold. All those 2 little dots represent my onions. And I've already planted those. Lad and I did that yesterday, actually. Bush green beans. I have a big row of bush green beans right here. And this one, I don't have a trellis on this one, but I have enough large tomato cages for that. This one, there is a trellis through here, but not all the way down. I have a trellis to about right here. I have some open cages, and then I have a small trellis right here. And so this one is going to be for, I'm going to try to grow some pinto beans. I've never grown pinto beans. So I'm going to try to find some pinto beans and grow right there. I really like growing beans. I really like, those are things I can put up. And so over the years, I used to try to grow all sorts of different types of things, and I've kind of really narrowed it down to what can I grow for my pantry? What food can I put up? What could we live off of from my garden? And believe me, this little bitty garden produces food. I can't tell you how many pints of green beans I put up last year. I still have tons of green beans that we haven't eaten. So I know it will sustain us on green beans. I know it will sustain us on tomatoes. I know it will sustain us on onions. I know it will sustain us on bell peppers and other kind of peppers. Cucumbers, we get plenty of that. So now my focus this year, I have grown all those things, year after year. I know what I'm doing with those things. Now this year I'm going to work on growing these lima beans to dry, pinto beans to dry. I've grown purple peas, of course, before. I may try to even grow some black-eyed peas, so that may be something I grow. More tomatoes, more onions. There's a trellis right here, so it'll be easy to stake up to this. Last year, one of the mistakes I made was putting things back to back, trellis-wise, that needed a trellis. That was not good. That was not enough airflow for my tomatoes. It wasn't too bad for the peppers, because peppers are a little bit more of an airier plant than the tomatoes. They don't have as big of leaves and everything. But definitely it was not good for my tomatoes. I needed much more airflow. So by growing bush beans right here, they will be low to the ground, and my tomatoes will have much more airflow on the trellis. Right down here, there's I have a kind of a gap. There's about 4 tubs right here that don't have any trellis right there. This has a small trellis, and I think I'm going to grow cucumbers right here. That will be plenty of cucumbers for us. Last year I had way too many cucumbers. My pickles do okay, even when I put alum in it, even when I put pickle fresh. After a while they get mushy, and it's just a waste of my energy and efforts to do too many pickles. So I think 3 or 4 things of cucumbers will be plenty for us. I have a little trellis right here, and this part is a little shadier, this side of this than this one. Let's see, we used to have a big tree right here, but it died. Well, huge parts of it died in Snowmageddon, and so this fall we had this tree removed. This side has always been very, very shady, so it'll be something new for me to see what losing this tree right here, how that's going to affect this side of my garden, which will be fine, really. It'll help me, actually, because I've always struggled with planting things here. I have some parsley over here that grew well. It grows fabulous over here in this little bit of dappled shade. And so I think I'm going to plant potatoes here. And I'm going to plant some lima beans right here to grow up on this trellis. And then right here, I already have my garlic planted. Usually right here in these tubs, I have herbs planted there. But this year, if I move my herbs over there, I think I'm just going to put some pretty flowers in here. Have flowers in my garden. I like putting flowers in my garden. I think it helps draw the pollinators and things like that to your garden. So, having some pretty flowers will be nice. Right over here is a bed. I have asparagus planted in here. I also have some turnip greens left over from the fall that are still out there alive, and they may come back. If not, I may just replant turnip greens right here. And then this right here, also right around just the front I have just a little row of onions right here in the front. So I intended for this to be a full bed of asparagus, but I only have, it's kind of spotchy. I've lost some plants when Snowmageddon came through. I've lost some plants, and I don't know that I want to replace them. Asparagus is not something we eat a lot. This is probably the first year that I will be able to harvest off my asparagus plants. So, I don't know. And I've thought about moving them because they're like sparse. Like there's one over here in this corner. This is, back here is pretty full. There's only like one here. So I thought about trying to dig those up and move them and make one little section of it, my asparagus plants. But I don't know how well they would do when I moved them. So I've just kind of been planting around them and using them. So we'll see what the... what our first harvest off of these are going to be like this year. My son-in-law loves asparagus, so I mainly planted it for him, really. So we'll see what the harvest is off of these asparagus this year. That's really my garden plan. One thing I did want to say, last year I had a lot of, I plant starts and sell them, and I had a lot of pepper plants and stuff left over, so I ended up planting, what I had left over, I planted them. And I had tons of peppers, tons. Like I had Tabasco peppers, 2 different kinds of Tabasco peppers. I had a cayenne pepper. I had my red Marconi peppers, which are a sweet pepper. I had, of course, banana peppers and bell peppers. So I had like 7 different kinds of peppers. I would love to grow peppers to do paprika. I always forget which pepper it is that you use to grow paprika. I think that would be a good pepper. But I have tons and tons of peppers this year. So I think I'm going to limit myself to like 1 Tabasco plant, 1 cayenne pepper plant, a couple of red Marconis, because they are really good. Sometimes I do better with my red Marconis than I do with my bell peppers. And probably 1 banana pepper plant. And then the rest bell peppers and red Marconi peppers. And I think that'll be plenty for us. Sometimes you just, but every year with your garden, some year you have a bumper crop of something and it just grows and grows and grows. You get tons of it. And the next year you don't get too much. And then 2 years later, you have a bumper crop of green beans. And the next year, your green beans don't do very well. That's just gardening. But I almost think it's kind of, that bumper crop carries you through to that next crop. You know what I mean? Like you have enough of it to carry you through to that next crop. So that's kind of my garden plan so far. It may change a little bit when I go through my seeds. Let me show you my seeds, how I organize my seeds. These are wonderful. They are actually photograph cases. You can take, like if you're planting, these are my loofah seeds. So take this out. You've got it. It's waterproof. Take this one little thing out, plant your thing, bring it back in. I mean, you can, store it. So you're not having to take this whole tote out. These are my vegetable seeds. I'll take that back. These are my vegetable seeds. These have a lot of flowers and stuff in here. And some herbs, I think, are in here. So I have 1 for my flowers and 1 for my garden, my actual vegetable garden. These are not expensive. I ordered these offline, but you can get them at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, that kind of thing. They have them. You can kind of color code it like I do. Like I kind of put my green beans in the green one, my purple little peas in the purple one. Orange is my pumpkin seeds. Yellow is, red is for my tomatoes and my peppers. That kind of thing. So you can kind of color code it. My purple is for purple whole pea seeds. That's just me. That's the way I color code it. And then I label them. They're labeled inside. So that's how I do it. This is a really, really great idea. Rather than having to go through all your, having loose seed packets and that kind of thing. This is a wonderful way to store your seeds. All right, if y'all have any questions, please comment down below. I'd be glad to answer them. My Master Gardener class is going to come and visit my garden this year. They're going to do a field trip and come see my garden, which is very exciting. I'm very glad to host them. I love showing people my garden. You know, in my garden, when I say garden, I mean I do have some flowers and stuff, but most of my energy goes into my vegetable garden. Most of my energy, vegetable garden, herbs, or around that, flowers to make it pretty. It's not just a vegetable garden. It's kind of like my happy place. I have flowers. I have decorations. I just make it as pretty and inviting as I can. Last year I did the little banner things across it, made it festive. I really liked that. I might do that again this year. It was really pretty. I try to have hanging baskets of flowers down in my tubs. Coming up, I'm probably going to try to show y'all how I do my tubs, how I've always done them. I've talked about it, but I haven't ever done a video on that. So I'm probably going to talk to y'all about how I really make my tubs and how they are so successful and for me and why I do them. It's for me, it's easy. I can garden sitting down. It is the easiest gardening there is known to man, is gardening in those tubs. It's so easy. And over the years, I think the last count, I know I have about 90 tubs out there. Probably about 90, if not more. I probably started out with, 10 or 15 and grew from there just one at a time. I started hounding people for tubs and getting tubs in here. So I just wanted to visit with y'all. So please, if you like this video, please comment below. Please like and subscribe and share it with your friends. Our channel is doing so well. And I just have so many things that I want to share with y'all this year on my channel. So please, please follow me. And even if you want to, hit that bell so you have notifications of when I do a new video. And I'm trying to be more faithful and doing at least one, if not two videos a week. So it's just going to be fun. I love getting ready for my garden. And I'm fixing to start my seeds. So I'll probably bring y'all in for that. I may go out in my greenhouse and do a little greenhouse gardening. Do some house plants. I love some pretty house plants as well. So thanks for visiting with me. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.